Who are you? What's going on?
Balance must be restored. You do not yet realize the power you have. The time has come to show you your destiny.
You're not making any sense. I don't understand.
You will.
For the honor of Grayskull!
She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Hello, hey guys, I am Danielle Radford. I am one of the hosts and writers for Fandom, and welcome to another episode of our new thing, Hey Fandom, our interview series where we bring fans and creators together. I am stupid excited for today. It sounds like everyone else is as well. I know a lot of you have been here. Thank you so much for joining us. I love the comic Lumberjanes. I love She-Ra. I cannot wait for this Q&A. But at Fandom, as you all know, we're all about sharing the love. I'm not going to hog her. I'm going to be asking some questions, but we also can't wait to hear all of your questions as well. If you want to join us to ask a question on video, hit that raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. Or if you have a text question, don't want to be on video, that's cool too. You hit the question mark at the bottom of the screen. I will ask that question for you and we'll put it up all nice and pretty so everyone can see it. Also, thank you so much if you're joining us here live on YouTube. We're so happy to have you. But do not forget, if you want to come ask questions, come on over to Shindig so you can get all of your burningest questions answered. Now, so you know, our charity partner for Hey Fandom is Direct Relief, and Direct Relief is working globally to provide protective equipment and essential medical items to health workers responding to COVID-19. So if you would like to donate, please go to fandom.link/donate. All right, Noelle Stevenson is an acclaimed writer of both animation and comic books. Her original works, Nimona and Lumberjanes, are both Eisner Award winners. As showrunner and series creator of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, she reimagined the classic 80s cartoon for modern audiences. She's also written many episodes of all of your animated favorites. She's done DuckTales, and that's just like one of them. She's been featured on the hit tabletop role-playing RPG, Critical Role. I'm very excited. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest.
Hi, hello.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited to see you.
I'm excited to be here virtually. It's really cool. This is amazing.
Thank you. All right, so I got to get started because we have a lot of people in the room and a lot of people have already been putting in questions. So I want to make sure I get my one in. So
okay.
My first question is, a lot of times in fantasy, characters can feel like a little stiff. Maybe their main personality trait is related to how their character moves the plot forward. So one really great thing about She-Ra is that in the middle of all of this epic fantasy stuff, the characters still feel really relatable. And one of the things we do on Fandom, we have wikis, and on our She-Ra wiki, I'm not even kidding, 2 of the most commonly asked, searched for items are, which She-Ra princess are you? And which She-Ra character is your soulmate?
Wow.
So how do you balance that kind of characterization with these heavy plot elements?
I think our way of approaching the story of She-Ra is like, it does feel, I started playing D&D at about the same time that I started developing She-Ra, way back in like 2016. And I think that a lot of that went into the way that we wrote the characters, because they're all like, the idea of the show is that they're just kind of like doing these jobs for the first time. They're sort of thrust into these roles that might not be like the most comfortable fit. Like Adora is a perfect example where she's like, okay, I gotta be this like amazing hero. I gotta be this like paladin, like perfect, shining, amazing at everything I do. And that's just not her. And so it's that kind of like uncomfortable outfit. So it's like all of our characters are playing with those fantasy tropes and their roles in this fantasy world, but they're also just like, they feel like really normal people. They're just people that we all know in our real lives who are doing their best at jobs that they might not necessarily be like cut out for at the start.
That's great. And again, incredibly relatable. Okay, so I have so much more I want to ask, but I want to make sure we're getting everything in soon. So we do have our first fan question. This is a video question coming up. We have a video question from, looks like Myra. Mirai, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. What is your question?
I just finished reading The Fire Never Goes Out, which was beautiful. I read it to my whole family, but it's really beautiful. I was wondering, is there any character you relate to, or like you inspire their plot by how? I'm not sure if it makes sense, but do you relate to any specific character in their? I'm sorry, I can't talk and read.
No, you're doing great.
You're doing great.
Yeah. I think that I relate to a lot of the characters. I think all of them sort of come from some part of me. And I think if you've read The Fire Never Goes Out, it's pretty clear kind of which parts went into the show. So I think the characters that I relate to the most, I actually think it's like between three characters, and it's Adora, Catra, and Glimmer. And those are the three that they're just different kinds of like anxiety, honestly. Like Adora is this very anxious, like she tries really, really, really hard, but like she also just like has a tendency to beat herself up. She's really anxious. And then like Glimmer, she always thinks that like nobody respects her. Everyone underestimates her, and she's just always trying to prove herself really hard. And so I relate to that about her. And then Catra is just like the frustration, like, and all of that kind of pent up feeling that Catra just gets to like kind of scream about and like, you know, let it all out. But most of us, we tamp it down and we just like live with that. And I think that that's kind of what the book is. It's like that fire, you know, where it feels like it's like, oh my God, like I'm on fire, I'm burning, and I have to do something about it. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And then, so it's really cathartic for me to see these characters kind of like dealing with that in this very high stakes way, and this way where it's like, you know, you're really rooting for them, but they're struggling with these issues that I think a lot of us struggle with. It's not easy, and it's not easy to like, you know, always be strong and always be on top of your game. And so those are the characters, especially since they're all like kind of young leaders. Those are the characters that I relate to the most.
Oh, that's a great answer. And thank you so much. That was a great question.
Great question.
All right. We have another video question coming in hot. We have a video question from Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello, Lindsay.
Hi, thank you. So obviously this show has had a huge impact on a lot of people's lives. Like I know I personally have, you know, connected with it a lot, and it has meant a lot to me in my life, and it's been sort of, you know, like a beacon of light in the world when, especially like right now, things are not so light. And obviously that's a testament to you and every single person who works on the show, you know, animators, all the voice actors, all of that. And so my question is, as we're approaching the last season, sort of over the 5 seasons, what is something that you are most proud of, either individually or something that you've accomplished as a team?
I think that the show, it kind of ended up mirroring our experiences as a crew, where, you know, making a show is a lot of work. It's very, very difficult. And it's also something that it's very collaborative. It really, really requires everyone to truly kind of like mind meld and become one unit, which can be very difficult to do. And so the story, like She-Ra starts out with like, it is about her and her connection to the other princesses and about coming together and friendship and community. But I think that theme just like it became more real than we ever expected during the course of making this show. So I think that that's something like I feel really proud of the show, not just because it's really good, even though I'm really proud of how it came out. But I'm just proud to have made it with the group of people that I made it with. I'm really proud of them. I'm really proud of the work and the vision that every single member of the crew put in. And so that theme of coming together, of kind of like relying on the strength of your friends to get you through when you can't always do it on your own, it just became like such a big part of that show. And I hope that that's the message that I want viewers to take away from it, is that it's more than just like friendship saves the day. Friendship saves the day. Friendship shaves the day. Interesting. But it really is about like coming together, and it really is about leaning on people and asking for help and forgiveness and all of these things that we all have to do every single day in order to be strong and in order to be brave. So yeah, that's what I hope people take from the show, because I think that's what I'm the proudest of.
Oh, another great question. Y'all are killing it. Thank you so much for that great question. All right, we have another video question coming in. This one is from Rami.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, hello.
Hi.
So my question is, we know that Shira is getting a makeover next season. Are there any other characters we can expect to see in different outfits?
You know, without giving you any like straight up spoilers, yes, we have some fun new outfits coming that I'm very excited for everyone to see. I'm not going to spoil it any more than that, but like, I think you can get excited for sure.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your question. And it looks like we have a text question coming in from Elena. All right. And Elena asks, we all know Adora uses the sword to transform into She-Ra. Was it easy to decide how she'll be able to transform into the heroine that we know and love?
I definitely think we went back and forth on how we wanted that to work and how we wanted her to relate to the character of She-Ra, because I think she is kind of a different entity than Adora. And so it really is like, you know, having in the first few seasons, it's very much tied to the sword. And so it's almost like she's powering up. It's almost like we wanted to take, I think there's obviously some inspiration that we drew from magical girl transformations, but also a little bit of kind of like mecha transformations, the way that it's like kind of pieces coming together to basically give her this like suit of armor. Like there is kind of a like, here's Adora, and then it's like adding to her. But that also means that it ends up being like She-Ra's kind of an uncomfortable suit for Adora. She feels very like buttoned up and restrained by it in some ways. And so I think that like, you know, her challenge is sort of like, well, like She-Ra, she's never felt like she really was She-Ra. So how does she find, you know, that part of her inside of her that is like, that's She-Ra, you know? And so I think like, you know, Adora's relationship to She-Ra has been changing a lot over the course of the show. And it's going to continue to change. So yeah, get excited.
Great text question. We have another one coming in. This is a text question from Nina. Ooh. And Nina would like to know, do you have any headcanons for the Princess Alliance?
Oh man, I feel like I have to have some good, because we joke about it a lot, like in the writer's room, about like what they're doing. We always felt that Spinnerella and Natasha are like, they're just really, really well adjusted. And they're surrounded by all of these like squabbling teenagers. And they're like, we're just gonna go. So we talked about them having like a ranch, and they have like a ton of dogs, and they garden. And they're just always like doing normal, responsible adult stuff. And then all of these like young adults are just over here, like they're like solving their mysteries. And over here, they're just like, we are trying to go on a date. Can you stop bothering us? Like, let us know if there's a battle, because you never do. So we had like a lot of like a running like narrative of Spinnerella and Natasha. And you're going to see a little bit more of them in season 5 as well.
Can you just for 5 seconds, if you could just please let us do the thing. All right, we have another video question coming in, and this video question is from Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hi. Oh, awesome.
For this current story?
I think that it was always really funny to me, because it was like there's a love triangle in the original, actually, I think, because I think Catra also had a crush on Seahawk, but she was just trying to kidnap him. But like when we started developing Seahawk's character, I think that their relationship it felt what was most natural was this almost like Adora's immediately like, I got to beat this guy in any way I can at whatever competition I can. And so she's just always like, arm wrestling, let's go, push-up contest, let's go. I am going to like, they just have those kind of like, Seahawk's always like bragging, but he doesn't really take himself like that seriously. He just likes to kind of brag and boast. And then Adora takes it very seriously. And she's like, oh, this guy's going down. I'm going to like, you know, totally beat him at this. So that's what their relationship ended up being. So yeah, no, I don't think we were ever like we never seriously considered any kind of romantic plot between the two of them. That is, I think, I think his relationship with Mermista ended up being pretty fun for us. So yeah. But yeah, I definitely recommend watching the 80s show for some fun little just like tidbits like that. There's a lot of like solid gold in those old episodes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. All right, we have another video question coming in. This one is from Barbara. Hello, Barbara.
Hi. Hello.
My question was if you had any advice for content creators or storyboard artists getting into the field.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we find storyboard artists through like portfolios online or work that they've done online. A lot of our board artists are comic artists that I've been a fan of. So it's something that is, I think, however you can put your work out there and demonstrate and practice your skill in a way that is accessible to people who are looking for people to hire. Anything that like displays your storytelling skills specifically, because of course drawing is a really important part of being a board artist, but it's really the storytelling. So it's like the way the characters act, the ability to choose different shots and communicate a mood with those shots. So I think comics are honestly a great way to do that, as well as actual like board samples if you can. But yeah, I mean, boarding is a very, very challenging job. It's like, I have the hugest amount of respect for our board artists because their job is just involves so much drawing and acting and posing, and they really create like the lifeblood of the show. But I do think it's also one that like you really do learn on the job. Every job is one that I think you mostly learn on the job, but I think boarding is one. It's usually a good idea to start as a revisionist first, so you can kind of get into the swing of the production before you really jump into like the heavy lifting on episodes. But yeah, I would just say put your work out there, respond to kind of open calls, send your, like whenever you see a studio hiring, send your work in, and just like make sure that your work has a place to live. Email address or a website is really, really useful for people who are looking to hire. And good luck. We always need more board artists. We always need that kind of like storytelling talent. So yeah, good luck.
But
thank you so much for your question. Yeah, and yes, good luck. All right, so I have, we're going to play a quick clip really quick because we know that the 5th season of She-Ra is coming out on May 15th. So we want to play the trailer and then follow up with the question. It looks like we've also got some more fan questions that are going to relate to that. So first, let's go ahead and play the trailer. Oh, that's a good trailer.
You never get tired of that.
I love the song remix. It's beautiful. It's so good. So, okay, we're just going to warn folks now. We do have some fan questions that are coming in. There may be some spoilers. So if you're not, just so you're all aware of that. But also, if you have any extra questions, we've been talking about the wiki a lot. So for those of you who are highly anticipating the 5th and final season, if you want to catch up on any details you might have missed, you can check out the official She-Ra wiki on Fandom at shera.fandom.com, the ultimate source for facts about your favorite characters and the world of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So first off, we have got another video. Looks like a video question from Paula.
All right.
Hello. Hi, Paula.
Hi. Oh, no.
Looks like we're connecting.
Hi. Oh, no, come back.
Come back, Paula. Okay.
Back, Paula.
Well, we will come back. We will come back to Paula shortly. I did have a question. So we can see here in this, the things are starting to take a darker turn after all of the revelations of season 4. She-Ra has never shied away from touching on darker or even deeper themes. So how do you approach that tone while still keeping it all ages friendly?
My outlook has always been that kids can handle darker themes and more complicated themes and heavier themes as long as it's still like kind of a safe place to explore those feelings. I feel like the movies and the shows that I watched when I was a kid that I still remember the most clearly are the ones that like frankly traumatized me a little bit or like made me cry or made me like scared. And so I think back, I'm like, okay, like the Prince of Egypt, it just totally like devastated me as a kid. Winnie the Pooh's Grand Adventure was like a big one for me. It's very sad. It's very scary for, and I was 5 years old and I'm just weeping and just I don't even know what's happening. And so those are like memories that are really important to me, but they're still like a safe place for kids to explore their feelings and to like be like, I feel sad. This is something that like this is giving me a place to express that feeling. So I'm kind of ready for that when I feel sad in real life or when I feel scared in real life. And so I've always tried to like kind of ride that line with She-Ra by having it be all ages, by having it be something that adults can watch with kids, or kids can watch alone, or adults can watch alone. It's kind of for everybody. And, we don't really pull our punches that much because I do think that kids can understand what's happening and, relate to what's happening. But we always try and keep that little like heart of light in it because it is a show that is like, it is optimistic at its heart. The characters go through a lot. It's really hard for them a lot of the times, but we try to never get too far away from the kind of the color and the brightness that I think is such a major part of what this franchise is.
Absolutely. All right. It looks like we may have gotten Paula back. We're going to go back on video. Yay!
Yay, Paula.
Hello, Paula? Oh, looks like maybe. Hi. Hello, Paula. Welcome back. Hi. What's your question?
Ooh. Oh, man. That is a good question. I'm trying to think of like what the cool Easter eggs are that I haven't already told you guys. I shared this one before, but not like openly, but the official name for Horde Prime spaceship is the Velvet Glove. That is something that carries over from the original 80s show, but we could never find a way to like work that into the dialogue in a way that felt natural. And once you kind of like miss your window, then it's just like, well, now it's like too late. At what point is he gonna be like, welcome to the Velvet Glove? It sounds like a nightclub. But I do like knowing it. I like knowing that it's called the Velvet Glove. It just adds some like flavor for me. So yeah, I don't think it comes up in the show, but it's nice to know.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Another great question. All right, we have another video question coming up. This is from Thea. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Okay, I just wanted to know, how are you personally coping with the show ending, and what plans do you have after the show ends, and when will you be posting the very anticipated emoji tweet for this season?
There it is.
Sort of annoying with that, but yeah.
It's been interesting because it's like, as the showrunner, you're the last person on the production, essentially. So I've been saying goodbye to crew for almost a year and a half now, which is really hard. But it's like, in a lot of ways, it's like the show ends in all of these small ways until it, like, the show coming out, that will be an ending. But it's also something that is like, I am so glad when you get to like go out on a high note, when you get to like end the show on your own terms with the people like next to you who've been there from the beginning. Like it feels really good. So I've got like a lot of complicated kind of bittersweet emotions. And weirdly being stuck at home for the past 2 months has like kind of helped me like come to terms with those. And so I'm really excited for everyone to see the last season, and I'm excited, to move on to my next projects. I'm really excited. I can't announce what they are yet. Hopefully I will be able to soon, but I'm really excited to just kind of like get back into it,
Yeah.
And then for your last question, I am probably going to drop the emojis in the next day or two. I don't want to give you like a ton of time to like analyze everything, because like I'm really good at the emoji spoilers. So like I don't want to give too much away. And also I don't always know what other like information about the show is going to come out, like reviews or clips or whatever. So I don't want to like risk doing too good a job of my emoji spoilers and then like giving too much away. I like to keep you on the edge.
Yeah, I haven't even watched any of the clips, so like I'm trying to
good job.
come to the season very fresh. So that's why I'm like, oh, maybe the emoji too will be more easier to like just, I don't know, like just from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's coming. It is coming, and I've done my best to make it like incomprehensible. So
awesome. Thank you. Great question. You got some big laughs out of that one. That was fantastic. All right. We have a text question coming up, and this text question is from Jay. All right. And Jay asks, are you working on any future projects related to She-Ra?
I think for now, the way I see it is that this is the ending of She-Ra, the way that we planned it. This is like, you've seen the beginning, the middle, and you're about to see the end. And I think that like one of our favorite parts about stories is how they end. So I'm definitely like, I'm open to other projects related to She-Ra in the future, but I just want it to be for the right reason. I want it to be something that really does add to the story and really does like feel necessary for the characters. So that's not to say that there isn't anything coming. There might be other projects in the works. I think there might be other books or comic books, things like that. But right now I think it's like, I really want to have this show end in a way that feels really good for everybody, and then kind of take stock from there. So I guess in short, I'm open to it, but I am just really proud to have made something that is very self-contained and, that has the ending that we all wanted it to have.
All right, perfect. We have another text question, and this one is from Chelsea. All right, and so Chelsea asks, what's your favorite episode?
This one is actually kind of easy for me because there was like one episode, it's way back in season 1, and it is the Promise episode, because that was like the first time that I felt like that was when, like, as a crew, we started to click with each other. We started to figure out what this show really was, and the ability to really put these characters into a position where they were really isolated from the rest of the world and just have them bounce off each other for 22 minutes. It was really, really fun. And it was also this very organic, very collaborative process where I was working really closely with Jen Bennett, who directed that episode, and with Phil Lomboy, who edited the episode. And it was something where it was just we'd be in the room, just bouncing ideas off of each other. There was the first script was it was pretty close to what you saw, but then I just would rewrite stuff, or Jen would be like, you should rewrite it like this, or I have an idea, and she'd rewrite something, or bring in new, they would try and shock me by doing something new. And it was something where it was just I was so proud of the way it came out, but it was also just the process that went into it. It felt like that was a really important piece of what She-Ra ended up being. So I think that one's especially close to my heart. Yeah, I'm just really happy with how it came out and everything that we went through making it.
Awesome. Oh, and we have another video question coming up.
Okay.
And this video question will be from Jenna. You all are doing such great work with these video questions. I got to tell you. Jenna, hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, so my question is She-Ra is a show that like means so much to so many people. I actually met my partner through She-Ra, so it's really important. And I think a big part of that is that like the characters are just like a gold mine for anyone who's learning anything about character study and just looking to write their own. So what's your advice, I guess, for writing characters who are as well-rounded and dynamic as Adora and Catra and Glimmer?
I always really try. Oh, sorry. What was it?
And all of them, but like,
yeah. I always really try and see the world through the character's eyes as well as I possibly can. And I think part of that also is having this be a collaborative process and having like a writer's room and having a group of board artists who bring these characters to life. But it really is, I really like writing the dialogue between characters. I really like writing, especially arguments, because I always really try and see the character's point of view and really, really argue their side and like really try and make them win the argument. So like every time there's just like the characters are just like any scene where they're just in a room and they're just arguing or like trying to express something to each other is like, those are my favorite scenes because it's like, that's when you really see who the characters are, I think. And like, it's where you start to like get into just who they are under the surface, what they're trying to hide, what they're trying to like reach. And the ways, I think, the ways in which they think they know what they want and they're wrong about that, those are the moments when I think you really see who the characters are. And that's something that's such a huge part of all of our characters, is that they all are striving for something and reaching for something. But through the course of the show, they sort of realize that that isn't what they want, that they actually want something else. And that's a big part of this last season as well. So I think it's just like trying to like, you know, see the world through their eyes and try and get them to express themselves the way that you would express yourself if you were that character. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you so much. All righty. Our next video question coming up is coming from Julie. So we'll be bringing Julie in here. Hello, Julie.
Oh, hi. Amazing hat, by the way.
My question is, I'm sorry, I have to read this. Will He-Man make an appearance? And if he does, is He-Man Kyle?
We do not have any plans for He-Man to make an appearance. It's sort of like part of it is rights and part of it is just like we really were passionate about this being a story that focused on Adora as much as possible, and kind of like gave She-Ra, you know, her own kind of self-contained story that's separate from the rest of the Masters of the Universe world. We actually did have like a running joke in season 1 that Kyle was He-Man and he would just never find out. It just never would come up at all. So it was actually pretty funny to us when the fandom also like came up independently with their own theory for that. But that's not canonical. That was just like, you know, us joking around. Don't tell and tell, please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Speaking of headcanon, that's great. All right, we have a video question coming up from James. I have a video question here. Hello, James.
Hi, hello.
She-Ra.
How did we make She-Ra? And how does like Bo make She-Ra too?
What inspired you to make the show, and what was the process like?
So I pitched She-Ra almost 5 years ago, which is really, really wild to think about. But it was something that I came up with my ideas for the characters. I came up with my ideas for the world, and then I sort of pitched those, and it was my vision for where the show would begin, where it would end, and how each character would change over the course of the show. And then I got to hire a lot of really, really cool people to help me do that. And together we all made the world of She-Ra come to life, including Bo. And so, yeah, like a big part of that is also working with the actors who play these characters. And that's one of my favorite parts, because you really are watching them bring these characters to life and watching them bounce off of each other. And they give me so many ideas for the characters. So Marcus, who voices Bo, is just such a huge part of, what makes that character feel so real. And he's just always so much fun to watch as well. My favorite moments were when we would get to record with him and with Jordan Fisher, who plays Seahawk, and they would have so much fun in the booth, and they would like joke around and sing together, and it was just like exactly the experience of watching Bo and Seahawk hang out. So it's, our amazing actors and our amazing crew brings the characters in the world to life.
Did that answer your question, Lily?
Question?
All right, great work. Thank you so much, Lily.
Great work,
Lily.
Thank you.
Bye, Lily.
Bye.
We have, I'm going to ask one more question really quickly because it's something that I have been wondering as well. So something that we see a lot in fantasy, obviously there's this idea of destiny, the chosen one fights the evil empire. Obviously, as we've seen throughout the show, She-Ra deconstructs a lot of those tropes. So what interested you particularly to use this franchise to examine the idea of destiny as maybe just a bunch of hooey?
I think that one thing that really stuck with me early on while I was researching this property was like people's opinions on because She-Ra has different powers than He-Man. His sword is a sword of power, her sword is a sword of protection, and her powers are a little different. She has like the power to speak to animals. She has the power to transform her sword into anything she wants, which He-Man can't do. And there are just all of these things that her powers are more about protection. They're much more nonviolent. She's still super strong and, can fight in battle, but so much more of her scope is focused on healing, protection, translation, and mediation, and all of these things. And there were people who kind of thought that that was sexist, or she should have the same powers as He-Man. But I really liked that about her. I really liked that it was for me, it was questioning, what is a hero? Is a hero someone who just punches the bad guy as hard as they can with their super strength and defeats them? Because that's not as much interesting to me. Or is it someone who is can heal, who can bring people together, who can be inspiring? And so I think it is a deconstruction of the chosen one trope, because one, not only is it do we kind of see over the course of the show that that's not really a good thing. Adora being chosen was not this magical, beautiful destiny. It was kind of a calculated thing. She was supposed to be the integral piece of this weapon. And it's not a great thing, actually. So really deconstructing the chosen one narrative and putting it on the shoulders of someone who is trying really, really hard to fulfill it, but it's not easy for her. And that, I think, it became really personal about how hard it can be to be the hero that people need. But it really isn't about that one person in the end. It's about bringing everyone together. That's what a leader really is. That's what power really is. So I think the show overall is about the responsibility that comes with power and kind of deconstructing that and questioning it. So it was something that I think came from the original show to begin with. And then we just tried to take it a little bit farther.
All right, that's great. Oh, we have a text question coming in, and this text question is from Austin. And Austin asks, what was one of the hardest scenes to write in the entire show?
Oh, man. Okay, the hardest one for me, it's actually coming up, so I'm not going to get into too many specifics because I don't want to spoil you, but there's a scene coming up that I agonized over, and I rewrote it so many times, and just all the way through to the end, I just kept rewriting it. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's something you're really anticipating, and it's we're finally at the scene. And then it's just okay, how do I capture the perfect interaction here? How do I capture the perfect essence of this scene? And sometimes you just beat your head against a wall until it's a literal last minute, and then someone is okay, you really need to turn this in, and then you turn it in, and you're oh wait, that actually worked. The thing that I when I finally had to commit to it, that's when the scene becomes what it needs to be. So yeah, I think I rewrote it right up until the end, and our editor Phil, he was like mad at me for rewriting it so much, so he made me scratch it, and it's actually a bunch of Horde Prime lines. So there's like one scene where it's like me doing my best Horde Prime voice, and it's coming out of the character, and then like later Keston the actor like dubbed over it, so it's him in the original, it's him in the actual episode, but it's awful. If there's a version of that out there anywhere where it's like my voice, it is so bad. It is so embarrassing. And I had to play that for Keston, and he had to match it. This incredible like Shakespearean actor. And then it's just like my stupid voice coming out of the character. So moral of the story is write the scene you have to write. Don't keep rewriting it until the end, or your editor might make you do something embarrassing.
That's why we respect our deadline. Next, we have a text question from Lily. Ooh, second Lily. All righty. Will the backstories of the 3 minor princesses be explored in season 5?
The 3 minor princesses, are those, which ones are those? Cinderella, Natasha?
Yeah.
I think that we're sort of past the backstory part of the story, I think. Like, I think that this season is more about the characters' relationship to their futures and less about their relationship to their families or where they came from. There's a little, I mean, I'm not going to say that there's no backstory in this season, but I don't think that this show has ever really been about like, you are a product of like your parents, or like that explains who you are, because I think there's so much more to it than that. Like all the characters are shaped by their environments, but I don't think it's so easy, like a one-to-one comparison. So, there's definitely a lot more of the princesses to come in this season. But I do think that this is like a little bit more of our characters starting to question who they are, what they want, and what the future holds for them. So yeah, this is kind of our future season in a lot of ways.
Fantastic. And we have one last question here. These have been so great. We have a video question coming in hot from Peterson. Hello, Peterson.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thank you. The show is really amazing. There are a lot of great fan creations that are based off of the show, specifically role swap stories, and more specifically ones where Catra gets the sword and the She-Ra powers instead of Adora. So my question is, if you and your crew were assigned to do a role swap Catra story, how do you think it would go, or what do you think you would do with it, or how would the characters react, or stuff like that?
Somehow I feel like that version of the story would be a lot shorter. I don't know exactly how, but I just don't feel like Catra would like wait very long to do something very dramatic with the She-Ra powers. So yeah, I whether for good or ill, I think that Catra would make a huge splash as She-Ra. Yeah, but I can't say that's something that I've really thought about a whole lot, because it is, I think that would be, like, our characters and their arcs so far have been defined by what's happened to them during the course of the show, and Catra's defined by this sort of turning point moment where she thought she and Adora were gonna stick together forever, and instead it seemed to her like Adora just left her without a second thought. And so I think that's so much of what her character and her personality comes from in the show. So it would be really interesting, I think, to see the, chosen one narrative fall to Catra. I think she would be a little less responsible with those powers, maybe, than Adora, which would be fun. But also, I think that, yeah, I think she'd probably just immediately blow up the Horde and not even really feel bad about it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's a great question, Peterson. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, that is it for our Q&A. We are so grateful to have you join us today. It was such a blast. Thank you all so much for coming in, and thank you so much, Noelle, for coming in and giving us your time and coming down. People have been pumped about this all week, so I'm really happy everyone got
so much. This has been really fun. This is amazing. So thank you so much, everyone, for your amazing questions. I am truly honored.
All right. Thank you so much again for joining us. This was so much fun. And thank you. Also, once more, we do want to make sure that we thank our charity partner, Direct Relief. Encourage all of you, if you can, to donate to them, which you can do at fandom.link/donate. Thanks once again to Noelle. Do not forget, She-Ra season 5 is coming out on Netflix on May 15th. I'm sure all of you already knew that, but make sure that you check that out. And thank all of you for joining us for another Hey Fandom. We will be back with another installment very soon. Bye.